Thank you everyone for joining us. I'm Sue Dorward. I'm with the Carbon Removal Challenge, and I'm thrilled to be welcoming our speakers today from sponsor Tencent. We have Dr. Xinwo Huang and Dr. Safina Huang. Let me just share my screen quickly. There we go. There's our speakers. So welcome, and the topic today is Tencent's CarbonX grant program. We'll start off with the presentation, and then we'll have Q&A. I just wanted to also congratulate our finalists who will be presenting at our showcase at Carbon Unbound, the conference in New York City, in May 20th and 21st. We have finalist teams from EPFL in Switzerland, from University of Waterloo in Canada, in Western University in Canada. We also have a couple of marine CDR proposals, one from a team out of Stanford, Berkeley, and Purdue, and then another one from the University of Michigan. And we had double the participation this year, which was really great. And we had such a strong cohort of teams applying that for the first year we also have honorable mentions. So we have teams from Monash University in Australia, Cal Poly in California, and another University of Michigan team that made the honorable mentions. If you'd like more information, please visit our website at openaircollective.com/CRC, and that will give you a little bit about each of the projects and the team members there. And then we'll be broadcasting the final showcase, which will be recorded at Carbon Unbound and then shown that night as an after party. So please join us for that at 7 p.m. on May 21st. And we will have the link for that showcase, or for that sign up, in the chat here, and also we'll be posting it on our website in the next couple of days under the webinar link. All right, so with that, I am happy to introduce our speakers, Xinwo Huang and Safina Huang, who will be giving a brief presentation, and then we'll be taking questions afterwards. So please enter your questions in the Q&A so we can keep track of them. All right, Xinwo, are you going to kick us off?
Thanks so much, Sue. Thanks, Matt, for having us. Really welcome everyone to join our webinar. Appreciate you probably dialing in from anywhere in the world, right? Maybe it's an early morning hour on the West Coast, 11 a.m. East Coast, and then probably like afternoon in Europe, and pretty late nights in the Asian time zones. So probably some of you probably have heard of the program, but in a nutshell, CarbonX is a purely non-commercial program, right? And it provides tens of millions of US dollars in non-dilutive grant funding to emerging climate tech teams from universities, from startups, and also from research institutions. And if there's one thing you need to memorize right after this webinar, it's our website. It's CarbonXProgram.com, so it's very easy to memorize, and it has everything you need, right? From the guide to application, the FAQ, and also the link to access the application portal. So everything is there. Probably like Safina will dive into the details, but probably one of the most frequently asked questions we got in the past few months, and probably some of you will ask that right after reading our website, is for the CDR track, do we have to go to Kenya, or do we need to go to Kenya for the pilot? And we have already explained that in the FAQ and also updated it in our website already. The answer is no, you don't have to, right? You are very welcome to also bring your own pilot anywhere in the world, right? And also, like as I said, in many of our previous sessions, I think most of the attendees are from startups. Today, I think we probably have a larger kind of university audience, right? So we actually very welcome university teams, whether you're a students, graduate students, faculty members, are very welcome to submit a proposal. Yeah. So with that, probably I'll hand it over to my colleague, Safina, probably to give a 10-minute presentation about more details about the program. Safina, please. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Xinwo, and thank you, Sue and Matt, for giving us the opportunity to share the story about CarbonX to everyone. So I will spend like 15 minutes to go through the program details and
Sorry, we're having some audio difficulty.
um, in the next. And if you have any, I'll be happy to answer after the presentation phase of the CarbonX program. Hello?
Yeah, I think it's fine now. It was just hung up for a second.
Okay, got it. So for the CarbonX program, it's actually the second phase. We first launched the first CarbonX program in March 2023, about 2 years ago, and it was purely focused on CCUS. And we did it mostly in China, and because of the most materials are in Chinese and most applicants are from China, and most teams are focusing on the point source. For CarbonX 2.0, it's actually an upgraded version. We got global call for proposals, so it's like geographic agnostic, and you're welcome to submit the application everywhere in the world. And for this year, we also divide the CCUS into three specific tracks. As you can see, we have the DAC covering DAC to biochar, enhanced weathering. All those durable solutions are welcome to apply. And also for CCUS, we focus a little bit more on the steel point source. And for the CCU track, is not only CCU technology, but we also want to make CCU enabled consumer products together with many of our consumer brands partners. And also, we have a track that is might be not so relevant with the audience here today. We expand to long duration energy storage as well this year. And all these four tracks call for global proposals. And as you can see in a short word, as Xinwo has said, the CarbonX program is dedicated to support emerging low carbon technologies with substantial catalytic funding and resources. And the next page is about how the project is being run. So as you can see, we have four tracks, and for each four track, we will support up to three pilot projects. And each of them will get grant checks worth 1 to 3 million USD, depending on the needs. And in total, you can see our funding budget pool is around tens of millions of USD. And we will have two rounds of selections. On the blue bucket, you can see as a first round, we will select the top 10 to 20 teams for each track, depending on the number of the applicants. And we hope to announce it by the end of September. And for the second round, as you can see in the green buckets, more details selections will get out of the 10 to 20 teams. We will fund the top 1 to 3 teams, and we will announce it by February 2026. And for those who are eligible to apply, are mainly what we are mainly targeted early stage teams who are focusing on those emerging innovations for the four tracks. So usually like teams from universities, research institute, and startups. So for the audience today, participants for the CDR challenge and Air Direct communities will be a great fit. And additionally, if you find your technology fits more than one track, you are also welcome to submit multiple applications. And also, I would like to introduce about our partner ecosystem. So, as we always say, the CarbonX program is not just launched by Tencent, but also co-launched with our other partners, including industry, investment, consumer goods, and ecosystem partners. And they also play a very vital role in the CarbonX program. Firstly, some of them help to prepare the site. For example, the HBIS deal is the second largest deal in China. They help to provide the site for the CCUS track, and which includes all those like utility infrastructure support and all those information and detailed information that they can give to share to those participants. And they even provide some fundings for the pilot projects. And also, we will have 1 to 2 representatives to join the committee for the selection of projects. And for teams participate in the program, we'll also have more exposures to equity investment opportunity and also more connections in the ecosystem. And that's what we want to provide for the CDR challenge teams and also all the startups. And for the expert committee, it's also a very important part of the CarbonX program. So for CarbonX 2.0, as we're going for a global call, we try to engage experts from all over the world. So the list is still growing. As you can see, we have Klaus Lackner as our co-chairs of the expert committee, who was the almost like we can call the founder of DAC. And we also got expert from Imperial College London, also from Cambridge. And also you can see we have like expert from the African and Asian Development Bank who come from the institutional banks that will also serve our expert to assess the projects. And for the proposals, it will be all reviewed together. It will not be the case where you come from those countries and you will reviewed by the specific country expert, and all the proposals will be reviewed together, and everything will be in English. So for next, it's more specific about the timeline and selection process. So as you can see, we launched the project in December 2024, and for another important date for you to remember is actually the 2025 May 31st. So there's only 4 weeks left, and everything you need to do is to submit a proposal on the CarbonX website. It usually takes you around 1 to 2 hours to finish the application form. And after that, we will have the first round review in summer in July and August. And we will be announcing the top 50 to 80 winners for the first round for 4 tracks and in September. And for the second round, it will be more of a semi RFP selection round. So we will need like more detailed proposals, and we will select 1 to 3 teams out of the top 10 to 20 teams. And we will announce that by 2026 February. And also for the later implementation stage, we will have to require the teams to complete the pilot in around 2 to 3 years. So that's the timeline and the selection process of the CarbonX program. And for the website, as you can see here on the laptop, so we will have this 3 tabs, which might be the most useful for you guys. So there will be application guide, FAQ, and the application form you need to fill in. And there will be also dedicated detail page for each check after you click in those, for example, the carbon dioxide removal tab, and you will see more details about the selection criteria and the site information of the CDR check. And also, if you want to get a little bit more details, you can also contact us on WhatsApp and email, and as attached on the website. And also, I'll briefly go through the 4 tracks. First track is the carbon dioxide removal. As you can see, we choose Kenya as our pilot site because of its 2 important fundamental conditions. First is close to 100. It's around 93% of renewable power supply, which are mainly hydrogen and geothermal. And it's coast basalt conditions suitable for geological storage, which makes it like a twin country like Iceland. So that's why we choose Kenya as the piloting site. So what we're looking for is a 100 ton scale annual removal size for the CDR project. And what we're seeing here is a permanent carbon removal, which includes the biochar, enhanced rock weathering, but will exclude those nature-based solutions. And what we're seeing is next generation technology. So what you will do here is not like a copy or duplicate from the technology you have implemented before, and it shall be something like for the next generation to implement outside of the lab. And that's for the Kenya site, and that's for the Kenya site information. But you have to notice that if you're not ready to go to Kenya, you can also bring your scenarios as well. So that means you have to prepare your on-site for all those utilities, infrastructure and water, etc., on your own. But if you come to Kenya site, we can help you to get those things prepared. And also if you're a DAC company, you can team up with a storage company to participate, or you can also participate as a DAC company alone. And also for the second track is the CCUS track. And for this track, we choose Serbia HBIS. So Serbia got a very long history steel plant, which has a long process steel plant. So they do the blast furnace iron making, and we are looking for a point source project at 1,000-ton scale, and it's a CCUS solution just for steel. As you can see in this deck, we're looking for a closed loop solution, which means you can actually need to do the same is to separate the CO2 from other gases, maybe like hydrogens or carbon monoxide, and to also make use and storage of those gases. And this is like more of an industrial context of the CCUS scenario. And we're partnering with the HBIS, which, as I said before, is the second largest steel plant in China. And they have this plant also in Serbia. But if you are also doing some kind of CCUS with other steel plants in other parts of the world, and you're also welcome to apply for this track as well. And for the third track is the CarbonX Made CCU. So it's a very unique and innovative track this year. And the result of this track is we see innovations of CCU in phase one. Also, we want to establish this track to leverage the capability of Tencent as we are a consumer-oriented company and we have a large consumer base. We want to solicitate innovative CCU technologies and help to make CO2-enabled products in consumer ends. So we have to form a CarbonX Made consortium that connects tech provider with large chemical corporates who can convert, for example, methanol to polymers, and also consumer products like Unilever's to have finally designed and launched consumer products to the customer end. We will help to using CO2 as a source to create products to replace petrochemical basis product. And what we are supporting here is like 1 ton of CCU production capacity, or we can pay the green premium for the products. That's what we are doing. And also for the last track is the LDES. So it's a track that might not be so relevant to the audience here today, but I could briefly go through it. We will do a pilot track here in the residential isolated island in Maldives. And we are soliciting proposals for long duration energy storage that can last for more than 6 hours and more than 100 kilowatt scale. And also we're not looking like traditional like lithium battery power, and we're seeing that if there is a chance of, for example, gravity or some other fluid battery technologies that might be the next generation technologies. That's all of the introductions for the CarbonX program. And I hope if there is any question you may have, you can raise it in chat box, and we'd be happy to answer those. Yeah.
Great, thank you, Safina. That was really excellent. And what an exciting program with all of the thought that's gone into the different tracks and the evolution from the first round. It's very exciting to see it have more of a global focus this year. So as Safina mentioned, please enter your questions into the Q&A box. We have several already, which is really great. And I have a couple of upfront questions, common questions. that might be useful to answer first, and then we'll dive into the audience Q&A questions. So first off, Safina and Xinwo, can you please just explain what the eligibility requirements are for the application teams?
Yeah, maybe I can take that. So as we explained on the website, also on our kind of flyer materials, so some other materials. So mainly we're targeting three categories, right? Universities, research institutions, and then startups. We previously said like early stage startups, but now we kind of loosened that standard a little bit, say, hey, like any startup, right? No matter you define yourself as early stage or scale up or late stage, as long as you're submitting something that has enough innovation in it, right? So we definitely can accept that. And even if there are scenarios where like you were a small team and then you were just recently acquired by a large corporation, right? But you're still working on cutting edge stuff, you're also welcome to submit an application. But mainly we're targeting universities, research institutions, and then startups. Yeah.
Okay, great. And then secondly, if a group's technology aligns with the CDR track, but doesn't really fit with your Kenyan scenario for deployment, can they still apply? And if so, what support would Tencent supply in that case?
Safina, do you want to answer that? Yeah, or I can do it as well.
Yeah. So we definitely welcome teams to apply for the CDR track, even if you don't want to implement in Kenya. So as we said, if you implement the project in Kenya, we'll provide the utilities like waters, every infrastructure supporting, and also the licensing will be also provided from our local partners. And if you're not doing that in Kenya, it's also welcome to apply, and we will also provide the funding support for you and depending on your needs, but anything else including those licensing and infrastructure you will mainly counter your own. So that would be the answer for this question.
Yeah, maybe I just want to add that. So it's kind of the number one mostly asked questions in the past few months. So in short, you're welcome to bring your own pilots anywhere in the world. Anywhere, literally, right? Whether it's the US, in the UK, Australia, Africa, like South America, anywhere in the world, right? Previously, we said, hey, Kenya, and actually, Safina and I actually went to Kenya last year to prepare the site, is because we thought, like many early stage teams, right, they have great technologies, but they don't have the bandwidth or don't have like a perfect site for implementation. So that's, hey, like, let's prepare the site for the teams. But now we saw, hey, there are actually many teams who also like have their own site, right? And then they just need the funding. That's actually even easier for us, right? We just provide the funding and you just continue your own plan. So either way is fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. So we have a lot of questions to get through. This is really
Right.
excellent. This is really the most interactive with the questions I think that we've had all year. So it's great to see. One of the questions that came up, I kind of thought might come up, is from Fred Johnson, who says, how are IP issues handled, and would open source solutions be considered?
Probably I can, yeah, open source solutions, yeah, definitely. Yeah. As we said, this is a purely non-commercial program, right? So Tencent as a company, yes, it's a big tech company. Like our main business is around social media and gaming, entertainment, right? But for sustainability and including climate part, right? We actually like our founder actually committed a $15 billion funding, right, to support sustainability initiatives back in 2021. And all of the CarbonX budget comes from that non-commercial pool, right? And that funding will not go back to Tencent Corporate. So that's kind of the bigger background here. So we're not like we're not intended to make any money out of it. It is a purely non-commercial program. In terms of IP, so we said that in the application guide. So all the background IPs are not affected at all, right? It's definitely belongs to the teams before application. So what we typically arranged in the first round, so I mean in phase one, was say in the scenario where Tencent is providing the funding, and then maybe there's an industrial partner who is providing the pilot site, right? In the point source scenario, you actually need a steel company or cement company to actually provide the site. And then there is the winning team. We tend to say that, hey, let's share the new IP coming out of the project, and the winning team would definitely still be the majority owner of the IP. And from the Tencent point, right, we definitely tend to be a minority shareholder of the new IP, only because we actually want to help you to scale it up down the road. And if you feel like, hey, like if Tencent, like for whatever reason, right, you actually want to own like 100% of the IP, that's also negotiable, right? It's in the end, it's a case-by-case scenario at the end of the funnel where basically we're going to talk about it just with the final winning teams, who is going to get the grant. But overall, like we can be very flexible. Yeah.
Okay, that's excellent.
Yeah.
We have a couple of questions about sort of more broadly, what are you looking for or accepting for the CDR track? So Toby Bryce, who's used to be our This is CDR webinar guy, it said, thanks for the presentation. Can you talk more specifically for the CDR track about how you're defining next generation technology? For example, does it include enhanced weathering or ocean alkalinity, where there's a lot of MRV reliance rather than an industrial plant? And then similarly, kind of on the same lines, trying to find the question now, Amal Batarai asked, they have an ocean-based CDR approach, and then we're wondering, can you help with permitting or other infrastructure for deep ocean offshore from Kenya, given that that's your site?
Yeah. So first of all, like both enhanced weathering and like OAE are in scope. You're definitely welcome to submit application, right? So anything that's within the durable CDR scope are welcome to submit application, including biochar, right? When we say durable CDR, it's for like 100-year plus. That's the first thing, right? Definitely welcome to submit application. And in terms of next gen, so let's put it that way, right? So the proposal that's not qualified is where you say like, hey, I've already done this in country A, I just want to do the exact same thing in another location. Can you fund it? That's probably no. As long as your proposal includes some level of innovation, right? It doesn't have to be a brand new thing, right? There's not that many brand new things, especially for enhanced weathering and also the OAE part. As long as you have some level of innovation in the proposal, right? It maybe have some improvement or somewhere else, welcome to submit application. And we also recognize that if you ask me, right, for enhanced weathering, the most difficult part is actually MRV, right? So the innovation can well be within the MRV stack, right? It's not about how to grind the rocks or how to spread the rocks on the farmland, right? It's probably around the MRV. That's definitely welcome to submit. So you don't need to have innovation in every single part of your proposal, right? You just need to have innovation in maybe one part or two parts of your proposal. Yeah. And then for the ocean question, so that's kind of, again, as we said many times, and we have just updated our website today, actually, if you look to the CDR webpage on CarbonXprogram.com, you're welcome to propose any pilot site anywhere in the world. It doesn't have to be in Kenya at all, right? So there are many places in the world who can do the ocean track. Yeah, so for the Kenya site, we are preparing, it's probably like a on-site, right? I mean, sorry, an onshore site in the Rift Valley. So if we bring something like on the coast of Kenya, we may be able to help. We can talk about it, right? But again, you're welcome to propose any site in the world. It doesn't have to be in Kenya.
Okay, great, thank you. So there are a bunch of other questions that hopefully will be quick answers. Samser and Welch asked if they can team up with another company to submit a joint proposal.
Yeah, maybe Safina can answer that. Yeah.
Yeah, so sure. So I'm wondering like which track are you applying to? For example, for the CDR track, as we said, you can apply as like a team up set like a DAC company with a storage company, or you can apply as a DAC company alone. So it's possible that you can team up with another company to submit a joint proposal. But and the point is that you should have a leading applicants who will be responsible for the proposals, and that might be that might be all the things you have to do. Yeah. And you should also have a clear, idea of how you will, share the grants in the later stage and how you will finish the project together. So I think that's more important to discuss before you apply as a joint team. Yeah.
Okay, great. So you can have a joint proposal, just have a lead applicant and clear workload distribution and award distribution. Okay, great. So here's a great question, which I was wondering about too. An anonymous attendee asked, if they don't think they'll be ready to submit this year, is there going to be a CarbonX 3 that they can look forward to next year?
Yeah, I can take that. So I think two parts. One is that I think Safina explained that in the presentation as well. So it only takes, I would say, up to 3 hours, right, to submit application. So it's not once you get into the portal, you feel you it's not a super complicated form to fill out. And like the actual pilot probably will commence, I think, in 2026, right? The selection will be done hopefully by the end of February 2026, and then we do the contracting and awarding process, and then you can go ahead and do your pilot. Um, so the timeline, if you're talking about next year, the timeline is still well within scope, right? For the first round, for the current application, you don't have to fill out a lot of details about your project, right? So it can be pretty high level. So I would first encourage you to still submit application for this year, and no matter like the outcome is, right? It's to be part of the CarbonX journey is actually pretty rewarding, based on the feedback of many of our phase one participants, right? We have actually many events and many other opportunities, right? Rather than just the final winning teams. Secondly, yes, there will be CarbonX 3, and then there will be probably CarbonX 4 and 5 going forward. It will be a continuous program, right? And also thanks to our founder who committed that $50 billion 4 years ago. So like it's a kind of a good problem to have. We probably have spent less than 10% of the funding up to date after 4 years. So we actually need to spend more money. So that's why definitely there will be more and more CarbonX phase 3 and 4 and 5 going forward. Stay tuned. But if you already have something in mind, right, whether it's you think it's mature or not mature, please submit application now. Yeah, it's still going to be multiple months before we actually make the final selection. So.
Okay, great. We are getting so many questions. I know we're not going to get to all of them. This may be a first for how many questions we're getting. So if we don't get to somebody's question, they can go on your website and there'll be an email address for them to ask the question directly.
And also there's a WhatsApp account as well. Yeah.
And a WhatsApp.
All monitored by real people. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So we have another question that kind of follows up on the previous question. How mature does our technology need to be? Can it be a prototype, lab tested, field tested?
Yeah, so I would say it's kind of different people have different definitions about their maturity, right? And also, personally, I'm not a big fan of those TRL kind of levels, right? It's different. Everyone has different opinions about that. So, in a nutshell, right, we're not funding lab research. Let's put it that way. We're not funding you to publish a paper, right? So we're not funding a pure academic project, right? It needs to be, in the end, it needs to be tested in the field. in terms of a current stage, I would say I think the perfect stage would be you have done it in the lab for multiple times, and you just want to test it in the real field for the first time. That's actually, I think, our sweetest spot, right? So yeah, in the end, we want to support you to do something in the real setting, outside of the lab. Yeah.
Okay, great. Next question, can you talk about future equity investment requirements for the startups?
Yeah, so this probably have read our application guide in a detailed way. So thanks for that. So we originally also put in a clause in the guide, also just from a kind of a very pure heart, is because so Tencent as a company, as a corporate, is also a very active equity investor, right? Globally, actually across almost all verticals. If you do research online, right? We're very active in gaming, in social media, and many others. And the same, like if we think because many of the climate tech startups we talk to is that, hey, like great, you're doing the CarbonX grant program, but we're also raising equity funding. Do you also want to participate? The answer is definitely yes, right? And if we do that, the funding will be a totally separate check, right? We're not convert the grant funding into equity investment, right? So say you got a $3 million grant, you can get another $5 million equity investment funding down the road. But it's totally optional, right? This is not tied to the grant we're giving out. Yeah.
Great. It's just amazing that you have such a commitment to developing these technologies. That's just huge these days. Okay, next question. Is there a student-specific part of CarbonX or plans to have one in the future?
Yeah, we'll take that as well. So as we said, like university is actually one of the key category we want to attract people to apply. And then for students, I guess there were undergrad students, there are graduate students, right? And then there are probably postdoc and others. Yeah, we like in phase one, we do have teams who are mainly kind of graduate students led teams. I would guess no matter whether you're undergrad or grad students, if you are submitting a proposal, you probably need to use some of the facilities in your university, right? Maybe you're under the supervision of one of the professors, right? So I would definitely first encourage everyone to apply. And maybe you can probably get some advice from your professor, right? Maybe you can be the lead applicant, and maybe in your description, you can say, hey, like, yes, I'm under supervision of Professor ABC, right? And I'm using the facilities in university like ABC, right? To do the testing and stuff. So so the answer is like, yes, we definitely want more students to submit an application, but we probably, at least for this year, we don't have a separate track for students, right? So everything will be kind of reviewed together. Yeah.
Great. Here's sort of more of a broader question from an anonymous attendee. You said you chose Kenya for renewable energy and geological reasons. Are there other areas you considered that have similar attributes? I guess they're looking to see what other areas might be good that you noticed.
Yeah, I would say probably Iceland or Indonesia, right? That's just for the DACCS track. But if you're doing biochar, there are many places, right? Enhanced weathering as well. Ocean definitely, like you can do it almost anywhere in the world. So
Yeah,
if you're
and
looking for the combination of RE plus basalt, then it's probably Kenya, Iceland, and Indonesia. Savina may have more answers.
yeah.
If
Also,
you're
I
not
want
doing
to.
basalt, if you're not doing basalt, then you have more places to choose. Yeah. Savina,
Yeah,
please. Yeah.
exactly. Also, we're forming a cooperation with Deep Sky, so they might also help to provide testing hub in their location in Canada. So if you have technology that might be suitable for kind of weather that might be cold and dry, you can also try to apply your apply in this competition. It will help you connect with, for example, Deep Sky and maybe other sites if your technology has specific climate requirements. Yeah.
Exciting. I didn't know about Deep Sky. The, Canada is certainly a promising location. Okay, trying to get through more questions. So does I think there's a typo here, but does the CarbonX made track include CO2 or CCU to build building materials?
Of course. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you expect at some point to have a track for marine CDR or marine MRV? Or
As we
is
said,
that
it's already
already
included,
included?
right? Yeah. So as long as it's a durable CDR, yeah.
Okay.
And
So
for
that's
the
part of,
MRV, yeah, for the MRV, actually, it's actually bandwidth limitation this year. So we might start to launch the MRV track maybe next year. So stay tuned for the MRV part.
so right now the MRV is kind of embedded in the current tracks and you're going to separate it out in the future, you think? Okay,
Yeah.
thanks. Okay, I guess this is another IP question. Maybe we've already answered this one. I would love to know, this is Marie Bardenet. She said, I would love to know a bit more about the commitment of Tencent and CarbonX along the pilot deployment and the implication in terms of IP.
Yeah, so we kind of already answered that, right? I think, yeah, like the grant we're giving is a pure grant. I'm not sure right now. We can share the new IP coming out of it, but we cannot, right? So we also, if you think like you want to own the 100% of the IP, we can also negotiate that. But for the current stage, don't worry too much about that. It's only kind of a case-by-case scenario with the final winning teams. Yeah.
Okay. Is there a maximum amount of funding that they can request?
Good question. So short answer is we provide funding based on the needs. I think we floated some number, something between like $2 to $4 million per project. It may not be the 4 million, it may not be the cap, right? We can be a little bit higher, but definitely I would say it won't be like $40 million per project, right? We don't have that big. But we set a number because we kind of did some research and say like for 100-ton annual CDR projects, that's probably the range of funding you would need. And though some of the applicants they may already have their own funding or some other funding resources, we just need to fill in the gap, right? So yeah, so I would say like multiple $1 million will be kind of the range we'll provide per project. Yeah.
Okay. We have a question about the steel track. An anonymous attendee was wondering, would the Serbian facility be open to piloting with blast furnace modifications, or is there a preference for just working with the flue gas streams for CCUS?
That's a super interesting, also a great question. We actually haven't thought about it, right? I think we're open. The easiest way is probably just to work with the flue gas, right? Then we probably just need to get a stream of the flue gas, and then we probably have some pilots at some area within the steel plant to do CCUS. But yeah, I think you definitely, if you're thinking some really great way, and then you actually want to do some blast furnace modification, please submit a proposal. Yeah. Yeah, then in the end, we just need to figure that out with the steel plant on the site. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
For now, we definitely welcome that. Yeah.
Do you have an expectation about the average and maximum grant award amount per winner? I think you've touched on that.
Yeah, I think we already mentioned that. So I would say probably like $2 to $4 million
2 to 4.
per winner. Yeah.
Yep. Would you, there's someone who wants to know about biochar. Could they have a project around artisanal biochar, or would you just want industrial biochar? So an artisanal, I guess, would just be that people are doing it on their own farms. That's a very specific question.
Yeah, maybe like Safina has more questions, but in the end, as long as it's durable CDR, welcome to submit application, right? Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
We're not funding like purely nature-based, like only like kind of decades type of permanence projects, right? As long as it's durable CDR, it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So that may
So
please.
the biochar has to be done in a way that where the MRV would indicate like 1,000 years or more. Is that kind of what you're saying?
I would say like hundreds. Yeah.
Hundreds of.
Okay.
Yeah. And also, I want to imply that we also have 3I selection criteria, which means the impact and innovation and also implementation. So you can see impact is also a very, important factor when we consider different methodology. So, yeah, we accept this kind of CDR as well. Yeah, as long as it's durable.
Okay. Now we have a question. I'm not sure I understand the acronym. Do you accept new DMRV approaches in the CDR track? Not sure what DMRV.
Yeah, D I think is digital MRV.
Digital MRV. Okay.
Yeah, in the end, yeah, as we said, as I explained in the question for greenhouse weathering, let's put it that way. So it needs to be a kind of a whole kind of CDR pilot project proposal. And if the innovation is on MRV, that's definitely welcome, right? But I think we probably not, if you're just submitting something, hey, like I made a digital tool for MRV, that's probably not in scope, right? So it needs to be integrated in the whole proposal. And the innovation can be in the MRV part. Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, so Samsung Welch asked a follow-up question about the joint application. If there were two partners, how would you look at the investment part if they were successful with the pilot?
He's sort of talking about the ground part. I think basically, as Safina mentioned, right, there need to be a lead application team, or like a coordinator that's put it that way, right? And after the grant is given, then how to distribute that funding between the two teams is probably like decision between your two teams, right? Yeah, for us, like the easy way to make it, probably just give out the grant to one entity, and then you probably can subcontract the other entity, whether it's upstream or downstream to yours. Yeah.
We have like 5 more minutes here.
Hopefully we can answer all of them.
Yeah, I'm trying to go through them. Sorry, if I'm not filtering them out as much. So Jason Quinn is wondering if they can partner with Kenyan farmers for their pilot deployments. That looks like a yes.
Yeah. Safina can answer. Yeah, definitely yes. Yeah. Yeah, if you're doing enhanced weathering or biochar, probably you want to partner with the Kenyan farmers. Yeah. Definitely yes.
Oh goodness, here's an interesting question. Some of the members of your committee are direct competitors in the DAC space. How can we be assured that our business intelligence will not be misappropriated or used by them?
Great question. We encountered that question also in phase 1 as well, right? It's kind of like you're hard to find judges where he's not doing anything competitive, right? So what we did is kind of the actual practice we did in phase one. We'll continue to do that in phase two. Is because we definitely will have many application teams. So all the teams will be probably divided into groups in the actual review sessions, right? In the first phase, we can say we actually divide everything into 10 groups, right? And then we did everything within 2 days. And then the judges, like if you feel like, so first of all, like if like his team or like his collaborators are submitting an application, right? He's not qualified to participate in that session, right? He needs to disclose like what are the teams who are associated with him or her. Then he is not qualified to score any of the teams. And if in a scenario where you think like, hey, this judge is actually super competitive to you and may have, I don't know, some like negative or positive impact on your application, you can raise your hand and say, hey, like I don't want this judge to be in my review panel, right? So that's definitely okay. Um, and in terms of the materials you're submitting, right? So as long as you get to the application portal, right, you're not required to submit any like super confidential information for the first round. And if you still think it's not comfortable, yeah, we can sign an NDA for sure. And we did that with some of the teams in phase one as well. Yeah. But overall, we'll try our best to 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 make everything as fair as possible. So yeah.
Right. I love that an NDA is an option and that you can ask certain judges not to be on your project. Though that's a
Yeah.
two-edged sword, right? They may be the most qualified to understand your solution.
Yeah.
Okay, just a couple more questions here. One is, what is the opportunity for CarbonX partners to be off-takers of the product from the pilots? For example, um, off-taking the carbon dioxide removal or low carbon chemicals.
It's the opportunity is very high. So we would love to do that actually. Uh, so Tencent as a company, right, we also committed to be carbon net zero by 2030 for our own carbon footprint, right? That's kind of separate from carbon tax. And then we are a pretty active buyers of carbon credits globally, if you just Google it. Uh, um, yeah, so, but for CarbonX, it's like, hey, like we got probably like 3 or 4 100-ton annual CDR projects, right, coming out of it. We definitely can purchase that. It's 100-ton. So yeah.
Okay, great. And then we have probably the last question I'm seeing here. Um, Robert Vanderloot was asking if you have a preferred methodology for enhanced weathering. And I think just sort of generally, do you have preferred methodologies or methodologies that you frown upon?
Yeah. In the end, no, right? In the end, it's not. If we have, we definitely will disclose that in the PDF document in the application guide. So now, anything durable CDR will come to submit application, and also, as Safina already explained, it's not just the Tencent CarbonX kind of a committee who will be deciding on the winners, right? So the judge committee will be consisting of the expert committee, who are mostly professors from academia, and those representatives from all of our partners, industry partner, investor partners, right? And also then Tencent. So it will be definitely a collective decision. Yeah. So then every judge maybe has their own preference or their own kind of a criteria, right? So yeah, so naturally, yeah, the answer is no. Yeah.
Okay, great. We had one more question from Graham Sinclair at Harvard, just asking about potential for collaboration on promotion and technical review. So I think he's put his email address in the question. Or Graham, maybe you can email them at the email address that's in the chat, info@carbonxprogram.com to follow up. We're very familiar with the need for technical reviewers here at the Carbon Removal Challenge, so I hope that proves to be a fruitful connection. So thank you to everyone for all of these wonderful questions and the engagement. Thank you to Safina and Xinwo for presenting, and best of luck with the program and with everyone's applications. Let me just share my screen one more time. We have, as I mentioned at the top, our final showcase coming up on May 21st. And I think the link to sign up for that should be in the chat, and it will be up on our website in the next couple days. So please join us May 21st at 7 p.m. ET to see our finalists presenting their projects at the Carbon Unbound conference at the showcase after party. So thank you very much, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day or night. And thank you for joining us. And best of luck to everyone in your applications.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.